Hi everybody.
Hello.
Welcome to our testimony video.
Yes.
We're going to share with you guys the details of our story. We don't have time to go super in depth, but we're going to give you some details so that you guys can know how we became. All right. So Mariah requested that I start with me, a little bit about myself. I met Mariah while I was incarcerated. I just started there. I got incarcerated at the age of 16. And I met Mariah when I was, how old was I? I think about 24.
23.
23. Yeah, I was 23.
23. I was 24.
Yeah. And
yeah.
It was crazy because that day I did not want to go to service there. I had been having issues with the church services there in the prison. And shout out to Chaplain McLean who's hearing this. I do love you.
She's in the building.
I do appreciate you, but I ended up going this day. And when I went there, I see exactly why the Lord led me. Because I seen my mom, my mother-in-law, Miss Veronica Jones, ministering. And right behind her, I seen this beautiful woman praying the whole time, literally the whole time that Mom was ministering. Mariah was praying. So I originally was sitting in the 5th row. When I observed Mariah, I got up from the 5th row and moved to the 3rd row, in the middle of the service while Mom was preaching. Extremely rude, right? Well, after I seen the view from the 3rd row, I then got up again and went to the 1st row. Went to the 1st row, and I stared. I was amazed. I was in awe at what I was seeing, because coming from the situation that I was in, that was completely unheard of. I mean, it was a myth. I did not see beautiful women of God. I seen women of God, but I didn't see beautiful women of God my age who were striving, who were going towards and pressing towards the mark. So being able to see Mariah in that place, it set a standard for me. Long story short, I left that chapel that day. I was walking back to the pod. I looked up in the sky. I seen 2 stars. I said, God, I gotta have her in my life. Whether she's just my friend or she's my woman, she has to be a part of my life. And
So you wrote a letter?
Yeah, I wrote a letter. I ended up writing a letter to Pastor Bo. Shout out to Pastor Bo. I thanked him for allowing my now mother-in-law Mariah to come in and minister. I told him how much I appreciated it. And he then relayed the message to my mother-in-law, who wrote back. We did correspond a couple times, and while I was writing these letters, I was putting my little, tell Mariah, tell her I said hi, and but yeah, man, I was putting my little touch on it, and she one day ended up writing me back.
Yes. So one day I went into my parents' room and I'm like, Mom, did you ever write that guy named Jarrell back? And she was like, oh no, I didn't actually. Now that I think about it, she was like, well, why don't you write back? And I was like, okay. So I thought about it for a while, and I felt this tug to write him back, but I didn't know why. But I knew it was the Holy Spirit. I absolutely knew that it was. And I said, okay, well, Lord, if you just want this to be, pen pal, friendship, corresponding, cool. If it's more than that, cool. I'm with whatever you're with, God. And I wrote the letter. I prayed over it. I said, Lord, whatever you want this letter to accomplish, may it do so in your name. And so I sent it. And he got the letter. He told me that when he got the letter, he was running around the pod.
Yeah, I ran around the pod.
I wish Swerve was here because he could vouch.
Yeah, I ran around the pod full speed.
Shout out to Swerve. But yeah, and so corresponded, and he wrote me back. I was going through some personal things in my life, and so I knew that I had to get some things together. spiritually and just in my personal life, just some things kind of going on. I knew that the Lord was pulling me to him, kind of like my come to Jesus moment, if you will. And he was working a lot in me at the moment. And I did that, came to the Lord, and he completely did a 360 in my life in literally a span of 7 days, within a week. I shut everything down, shut everything off. And I said, Lord, do in me whatever you want to do. And he did it. And now I see that he was not only preparing me for just be a woman of God and who he's called me to be, but he was intricately also preparing me to be Jarrell's future wife. And so that's kind of how that happened. And October 17th, 2019 is when we officially started dating. And it wasn't like, will you be my girlfriend?
Yeah,
will you be my boyfriend type thing?
It just happened.
It just happened. We were just together, and it was no question for me. It's no question for me whether I wanted to sacrifice for this person, for this man or not. When God tells you to do something, it may sound so crazy to everybody else, but if you know that he's told you to do something, do it. No matter how hard it gets, no matter how rough it is, no matter if what you're in the moment, what you see in the moment, is not lining up with what God said, with what God said, know that if he spoke it, it will come to pass, right?
Yeah.
Don't let me preach up in here.
And
so
another thing, man, for us, just to highlight we didn't have to add, it just happened. I truly believe when a relationship is by grace, you'll just transition into it. You won't have to wrestle.
Yeah.
You won't have to fight for it. You will know that it's yours, and it'll just be a mutual accepting of where your relationship is going. I mean, during the course of that time, man, while I was waiting for Mariah to respond back to me, man, I was putting words. So
he framed this for me for my birthday. Tell him what it is.
Yeah, so this right here is declarations and decrees that I would speak every single day. I would get up and I would say this multiple times. I would get on the back wall somewhere private when I was incarcerated, and I would speak these words. And here's a portion of what I would speak. I said, I am more than a conqueror, and I receive 100-fold on every seed I sown according to your will, to include financial, spiritual, social, soul, body, and my Mariah Jones seed. So after I met Mariah, I went to a man of God, and I knew that emotionally I was compromised, right? I knew that my emotions would have gotten in the way. So I partnered with a man of God, and I sowed a seed. And I said, man, I need you to partner. I need your faith. I need you to believe that I'm going to see this woman again. I sowed the seed. And after I sowed the seed, I wrote this. And I said, I believe that I receive 100-fold return on my Mariah Jones seed. I receive 100-fold in a spirit, soul, body relationship opportunity with the woman of God. And I said this every single day. And to now be in this place where we're sharing our testimony video, where today we are literally getting married, man, it's a blessing, man. And if I would say anything to anybody who is fighting for the relationship or just looking for one, be consistent. Like, be consistent in what you do, even in the areas where you feel like it's not working. Be consistent. Continue to move in those areas, man. You got to tend your garden, right? You got to constantly be watering those areas. And for me and Mariah, even before we became a thing, I knew that I wanted her to be in my life in any shape or form. So each and every day, I moved with that intent. I got up and I spoke. And, now we're here in a place where we are all celebrating me and her union. So this is just this relationship, this union is a declaration of the power of faith, of just believing God and just resting on his promises, man, believing what he said and ignoring the naysayers, because we went through some stuff, man. I fought to come home for years. I was denied, at least 3 times while in a relationship with Mariah.
He was denied 4 times. 2 of those were delays. 2 of those were straight no's. And just know that God has the final say, period.
Because I'm here 7 years early.
7 years early.
Yeah.
Only by the grace of God. So our relationship is just a testament of faith. It started with faith. It'll continue with faith. And it'll be faith till the day that we die, and even after that.
Yeah.
So Galatians 5:6.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Faith worketh by love. We stood on
Faith works
faith,
by
and the
love.
faith is going to continue to be the trademark for our relationship. And many people will look, and many people ask me today, who are still incarcerated and somewhere or not, they say, man, Jarrell, man, you came home and this is that and the third and all these different things. None of the glory goes to me. Mm-hmm. And I share this with everybody. The secret, and it's not really a secret, but if I can impart one thing, one word of wisdom for everybody would be this, whether it's in your relationship or whatever, the same way you believe God for your salvation, by grace through faith, not of works, nothing that you could do to earn it. You believed on Jesus' work on the cross and you were saved. That's the same way you believe for every single thing in your life. Believe that there's nothing that you could do to earn it. Believe it, and believe that you receive it based off Jesus' merit. Can you see God giving it to Jesus? Could you see Jesus asking God for it and God telling him no? Mm-hmm. No. And that's how I believe for Mariah. That's how I believe for everything that we have now and everything that we're going to go into. Absolutely. So we thank you guys for being a part of this day with us, man. And it's my prayer that as we continue, that this does not be the last time we see or hear from you guys, that you guys continue to be a part of our lives, so that we can share our journey with you and you with us. We love you. We thank you.